In this tutorial we're going to take some table data and some text data, and we're basically going to merge them together and then combine them to create a table with an alphabetical order by name. We'll begin by double-clicking the network, and under the DATs tab we want to select a table DAT. If we lay this down, we'll see that we have a table with one cell, which we can see here, and if we click the viewer active, we will then turn on the viewer and we can right click to add more cells. So we could add a row below, or we could add columns. So if we just add two columns in, so we can add column to the right if we click, and if we add column to the right again, then we'll see that we now have three cells which we can put data into. So if we begin by, first of all, we want the name, then we want our second cell to have a surname, and then our third cell is just going to hold the age. So now that we have three cells, we could continue by entering our data via the viewer method, which is to click here. But what we'd rather do is use this edit button here, and we'll open a text editor which is tabs limited, which means that we can add cells in by using the tab and return. So for example, on a new line, if we enter Harry, tab Anderson, tab 23, we can save that and we can see that Harry's been added into a new row, and it's split the columns by the tabs. So we can add in some more data here, so Sarah Marshall, and we're going to make her also 23. We're going to add in David Moore, and we'll make him 14. And finally we'll add in Carol Stevens, and we'll make her 46. So if we just go File Save, we'll see we now have a table filled with our data. If we just move below our table here, we can double click, and if we select a text DAT, we can lay down a DAT which can contain plain text. So if we click the viewer, we can type in, or if you preferred, you could go into the text edit button here and then open in a notepad, and if we just close this and if we just type in David Brown is 19, then we can hold plain text in a DAT. We can convert text to table data or table data to text data by using a convert DAT. If we right click the output node of the text and select convert, we can see that our text is now in one cell of a table. So we can split these cells at the space by simply selecting under this parameter here, split cells at, we can just remove the \t and type in a space. And now our cells will be split at each word where there's a space. The select DAT will allow us to select which data we need. So for example, here we have the is, so if we just lay down a select DAT from the output of the convert, we can see that we can select by extracting rows and columns. So we can extract rows by name and by index. So if we said for an index, for example, we only have one row, so we would have 0 and 0 for that one row. So we're going to extract by column, and we're going to extract that by index. So we have columns beginning at 0 and ending at 3. We have 4 columns. So the first column is column 0, and we can select what we want to use. But we could also select by specified condition and specified values. So if we say specified values, and we can say that we want the David, we want Brown, and we also want 19. So we can remove the is from our table and we now only have the 3 cells that we want to work with. We can then append this onto the end of our table by using a merge. So if we use a merge dat, if we just lay that down from the output of the table, and then if we also wire in this new row, and we can see that we have append rows, so we've selected append rows. We could also append columns. So we now have David Brown in our table alongside the rest of our data. We have blue text and purple text. So you can see here the blue text is usually the first node, and the reason it's blue is because it's editable, whereas purple text is non-editable. So for example, if we lock a node, we can see that it's become blue. So if a node is locked, we can use that to edit that node, but then if we unlock that node, we'll see that the data reverts back to what it was. In order to sort our values, we could use a sort dat, but we would also sort the top row there, which is name, surname and age. So what we're going to do is we're going to extract that information and then extract the rest of the information, and we're then going to sort the information here and then merge them back together. So for example, if we right click and lay down a select, we can extract rows by index, and we can see here that we have an end row index of 5, which is the number of rows minus 1. Because the first row is 0, you need to minus 1. So if we set our end row index to 0, then we'll just have that first row. We can then middle click to branch off our merge and lay down another select. And this time we want to extract by index, and we just want to extract from row 1. So now we don't have the name, surname and age, and we just have the data which we want to sort alphabetically. So we can right click the output of that select and lay down a sort, and now we can see that we can sort by different different values, rows and columns, and we can also sort by alphabetical or by numerical values. So here we've sorted alphabetically, and we have Carol, who begins with C, David, Harry and Sarah, and if you wanted to organise by surname, you could change the index on the parameters. So if we then merge these back together, we'll find that we've appended by row, and we now have our data. We can use the reorder dat to reorder our name and surname, so that surname is the first column, and then name is the second column, and then age is the third. So if we lay down a reorder dat after our merge, we can replace by indices, we can also replace by name in specified order. So if we then say surname space name and then age, we can reorder our columns of data to suit our needs. So we have surname first, then name and then age.